His book, The Last Medal of Honor, tells his amazing story, but Mr. Beneovidez will share it with us today. Please give a big senior high welcome to Roy Beneovidez.
Good morning. Well, Falcons, we're going to win tonight, aren't we? Yeah. I tell you, I heard a lot about you Falcons, and I'm gonna try and be at your game tonight. My schedule is pretty tight, but don't let me down, because for every mistake that you make, you're going to give me 20 push-ups. The coach gives me 50. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here and talk to you about patriotism and about the problems that we have in our country, as you well know. And being that today is this week is Pride Week here in this area, I mean, what better time to talk, and what better audience to talk to than him from thank to Mark K. who got me here, and the BFW, American Legion, and all the sponsors that got me here from Texas. I travel all over the country speaking to schools, jails, prisons, because we do have a problem. Drugs, gangs, and dropouts. Hey, you're the future leaders of the country. You're the ones that are going to control not only the city, the county, the state, but our nation. I started out as a very young man. I lost my mother and father at a very early age. I grew up as an orphan. I was adopted by an aunt and uncle, my brother and I. My aunt and uncle had 8 children of their own. I worked out in the field. I worked out in sugar beet field. I grew up in El Campo, Texas, right outside of Houston. I went to school there. I started school. I played ball. I was a boxer, a Golden Glover. And like a fool, and I'm not proud of it, I dropped out of school and I ran away from home. I don't know what got into my mind. When I came back, I was told that an education and a diploma is the key to success. Bad habits and bad company would ruin you. I admired the uniform. I wanted to join the service. I wanted to be proud to be an American. I wanted to say that I serve my country. So I couldn't wait to get old enough to join the military. So I joined the National Guard, and then I found out about the Red Army, and I found out about jumping out of an airplane. You get paid extra, for becoming a paratrooper. Hey, I said, that's for me. If you're gonna be in the best, be in the best so you can have something to talk about. So I joined the Airborne. I went to jump school. And then I went to the Special Forces, us as the Green Berets. In the Green Berets, we're trained to operate deep behind enemy lines with little or no support at all. And we are training 5 specialties. We're training Operation Intelligence, Light and Heavy Weapons, Engineers, Communication, and Medics. I am training 3. Operation Intelligence, where I learned oceanography, meteorology, photography. I'm an interrogator, and I'm also a linguist. I'm also training light and heavy weapons, where I know all the functional parts of weapons, from a BB gun to a 105 Hawk artillery piece, to include foreign weapons, British Brim, AK-47, and Uzis, and I'm also cross-trained as a medic. And I've been all over the world. I was in the Far East, in Korea. I was in Berlin behind the Iron Curtain before the wall came up. In fact, I was considered the only Hispanic American that could speak German with a southern accent. I've been to South and Central America, and I was in Vietnam twice. I'm going to tell you a little thing about Vietnam. We fought 10 years. We lost over 58,000 men, to include 8 women. There's over 2,000 unaccounted for, to include 2 women. But we're proud of the church. See, we never got any recognition. We don't care. Your teachers right now were probably students in those days when we were fighting that war. In 1965, I was sent to Vietnam as an advisor. I lived with the Vietnamese. I lived their customs. I ate with them. I went to church with them. After a short period of time there, advising the infantry, I stepped on a landmine. I woke up in the Philippine Islands in Clark Air Force Base, paralyzed. I was declared never to walk again. Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you believe there's a God? Let me ask you another question. What are the very first words that you say when you need help? Especially you Falcons, you're going to win that game tonight. Oh my God. Right? That's the first thing that you say. Why can't you say, oh Henry, oh Bob, oh Mike? So there has to be someone up there. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I wanted to walk. I wanted to walk because when you get back to your rooms, you had your teachers. In the 60s, when they were burning that flag, that pleased the cross, the symbol of freedom. Students in high schools and colleges, they even wore that flag in the seat of the pants. American, yet there were so many dying for that piece of cloth, for the freedom that they had, the rights that they wanted to exercise. Now just, how do you feel about that? Now, you didn't know that. So I wanted to want to get back to Vietnam to help my mother. And I used to crawl out of bed at night, crawl to a wall, sit against the wall, and back myself up against the wall, and stand there, hoping to move my toes right and left, right and left. I wanted to walk. Some of the guys on the board would make a bet on me and say, hey, there goes that crazy guy. I bet you he'll fall. And I would fall, but I'd get up again. Because I'm a firm believer that quitters never win and winners never quit. What are you? You're a winner. Those guys would make so many bets on beers, double drinks and everything. 7 months later, the doctors come up to me and said, Beneovidez, you know what? You're about the hard-headed Mexican I ever did know. I said, sir, doctors do make mistakes. He said, you're going to leave me here with a ward full of alcoholics? I said, well, I'm sorry. I went back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, home station. I made 3 pairs of jumps in one day. And I volunteered to go back to Vietnam. I wanted to help my brother. The second time in Vietnam, I was assigned to an intelligence gathering group. We are trained to operate deep behind lines, which little North report at all. In April of '68, I was inserted deep behind enemy lines to gather intelligence information of the enemy. Me and my other buddy. My buddy got shot through the eyes, the face, and the back. And I didn't want to leave him behind. So I called in for an extraction helicopter to come in and get us out. With what we call a McGuire rig. The McGuire rig is nothing but a piece of rope that hangs with a device at the end to pull you out. It pulls you from danger to safety. It's nylon rope. In this case, it was 2 pieces of rope. And you know what nylon rope does when it's twisted and rubbed? It burns. We got pulled out of the jungle, coming up through the canopy, and the enemy was firing at us. And our ropes twisted, and they were burning. When we cleared the canopy, I could see smoke. We were 300 feet up in the air. My God, no, we're going to drop to our death. And there was a black non-commissioned officer, NCO, that was riding recovery, what we call a belly man. His safety. He tied himself with a piece of rope around his stomach, and he lowered himself out of the helicopter to separate those two ropes and kept them from burning. Now that's dedication and love of fellow men in the country. So you see, we should never look at color of skin. We should only look at that color, the red, white, and blue, because we're all Americans. I tell you this because a lot of young men, and grown-ups too, take freedom for granted. You really don't realize the price that's paid for the freedom that you enjoy. And all we ask of you is to stay in school, say no to drugs, and stay away from gang. If you're going to gang up, hey, gang up and help each other, help your community. Gang up and go see the veterans at the VA hospital. And you that are old enough, gang up and give blood. Because look how much blood they gave for you. Now, we have a drastic problem in the United States among your peers. You're dropping out of school, you've been in gang, and you're getting in drugs. I know because I visited jails, I visited prisons. And the first thing that this guy tells me, 16, 17 years old, well, my buddy did, hey, wait a minute. Friends don't get friends into trouble. See? I mean, you do what you want to do. Do it right. You can be anything you want to be if you just try. I hope you see some of these Falcons at West Point. We need some good football players in the Army, but we've got to beat Navy. I'm an adopted at West Point myself. There's a conference room at West Point named in my honor. And I hope you consider it. And then, hey, join in the branch of the service that you want to. You young ladies. We need good nurses. We need good secretaries. And there's women pilots, too. There's women paratroopers. The girl jumping out of her plane. I just found out last month there was a 69-year-old grandmother that made a 1,000 parachute jump in Florida. So you see, there's nothing to anything, especially jumping out of a plane. It's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Well, in my second trip after that, my buddy and I got pulled out. Was waiting for the next assignment. And then May 2nd, 1968, I was baptized into combat again. And I spent 6 hours in hell. I was shot 5 times. I was bayoneted in both arms. I was hit in the mouth with the butt of the weapon. I was given up for dead. I spent 6 hours those being on the ground. My mission was to recover the classified material that a team leader had. And guess who that team leader was that day? Sergeant Leroy Rice, that black sergeant that saved my life that day. So I volunteered to go in and get him in. The statement stated that I loaded 17 people in a helicopter. After I engaged in the hand-to-hand combat, the last trip that I was making loading people in the helicopter, the statements read that I was holding my injections in my hand. I didn't want to leave anybody behind. So they finally loaded me up. When we got back to our station area, and they were identifying the bodies. They found out I loaded 3 dead enemy soldiers in that helicopter, and they laid them off to the side. And because I looked sort of oriental, and I was dressed like them, that laid me right next to them. And they were putting us in a body bag. And they were putting me in a body bag. I couldn't talk. I couldn't tell that guy, that medic, hey, I'm still alive. My jaws were locked where I got hit in the mouth with the butt of the weapon. And the zipper was coming out. And I was trying to move. I was trying to tell him, hey, man, I'm still alive. Don't suffocate me here. And my face was covered up with blood. And one of my buddies identified me. And he told the medic, that's Roy Beneovidez, that's Roy. And the medic says, there's nothing I can do for him. So Jerry went and got a doctor. And the doctor came over and he unzipped that bag. And he placed his hand on my chest. And when I felt that hand on my chest, I spit in the doctor's face. That's the only sign that I could give to let him know that I was still alive. So they cleaned me up. The doctor said, well, I think we can make it. So they put me in a helicopter with my buddy. We were going to the hospital. And I was holding hands with this guy. And he had about 6 bullet holes in his chest and his stomach. And he died of lack of oxygen because altitude kills a person when you have an open chest wound. And I was gasping. I was crying so much for this guy. I missed him. You know, we stick together like glue, just like you football players. You know, we stick together. And I miss him so much. And this co-pilot thinks I'm gasping for air. So he gets up from the helicopter seat, and he gets his bayonet out. And he wants to do a track on me. He wants to cut my throat open so I could breathe. And I'm about to kick him out of the darn helicopter. When I saw that knife again, you know, because I've been bending over and move on. That's just too much for one day. So we finally landed and got to the hospital. And they wheeled me in to an operating room. And there, ladies and gentlemen, I saw a sight that I tell you I'll never forget. There was this lady, this nurse, that was kneeling down on the floor, crying and yelling, asking God, why do you do this to these men? Why? And in the next operating table, there was a young soldier that had both legs and both arms missing. So you see, the price is paid for the freedom that you and I enjoy. And all we ask of you, we do this because we don't want our country. This is the greatest country in the world. We have freedom. Freedom of speech, religion, travel, and everything. You students here, I've been in some communist country. You students here in school, you can come in any attire that you want to. You can dress any way you want to. Wear a cap, sideways, backways, whatever. Chew gum in class. In those communist countries, in the schools that I've been in, you know, the girls sit on one side of the room at attention, and they're all in uniform. The boys sit on the other side of the room at attention, and they're all in uniform. And they don't talk. They don't move. They only talk when they're spoken to. When they get out of that classroom, they go home, they go on the bus, they're home, the Venetian line, all the way down. They don't have TV like you and I have. They only have one radio. There's only one station that they listen to. That's communism. Now you don't want those people to come over here and tear down our Hardee's over here, our McDonald's, and our Pizza Hut, do you? Of course not. Those kids don't have the freedom that you have. So enjoy it, but be appreciative of what you have. This country is free because of the veterans. Look how many have given their lives for you. All we ask of you is to have respect for our American flag. Stay in school, say no to drugs, stay away from gangs. Well, I got out of that hospital. I went back to Fort Samuel, Kentucky, to the same hospital where I was when I was paralyzed. And I stayed there almost 2 years. Then I got out and I continued my education, my career. Then I went to school, I went to night school. I got my college degree in psychology. 13 years later, I was recognized for the Medal of Honor. Incidentally, you might not know this, but I'm going to tell you, there's been over 3,998 Medal of Honor awarded since the Civil War, 1863. 1 to 1 woman. There's 204 of us alive right now. I am the last one to receive. There's one gentleman from Wyndham, around the Wyndham area, Colonel Leo Thornton, Air Force, who was a POW for over 5 years. He had the Medal of Honor. He made the movie Hanoi Hilton. They tortured that man because of James Fonda. They twisted his arm behind his back and hung him until his arm popped out his socket. Everett Alvarez, who lasted the longest in captivity, 8.5 years, 3 years in solitary confinement. He only saw daylight 15 minutes a day. They stuck thorns under his fingernails, toenails, to make him talk. Jim Stockdale, they broke his leg 3 times in 1 day. Yes, those are POW. They suffer for you and I. And all we ask of you is to continue with your education. As you well know, we do have that problem. Gang, I had a guy that pulled a knife on me. A gang leader. Little youngster. We were saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And he was there with his cap off and he was going like this. I finally called him up to the stadium and I said, young man, I need your help. And he didn't know that I was going to put him in the spot. So he said, what do you need? I said, I need for you to demonstrate the proper way to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So he took his cap off and he placed it. I said, now that's the way, right? He said, yes, that's the way. I said, you know there was a fool out there making a fool out of himself. And I had one of my buddies, Jerry Gallegos, who lost both legs in Vietnam. I said, you see Mr. Gallegos there? He gave those 2 legs for you and I. And that fool didn't have no respect for that flag or to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I said, you know what it means when you say the Pledge of Allegiance? You're saying thank you to all those men and women that gave their life for you and I in this great nation to be free. And that guy thought that I was making fun of him. So at the end, after my discussion and everything, I was going to the principal's office and I stopped at the bathroom and he came in. And he pulled a knife out. And he said, you Green Berets think you're tough, don't you? I said, no, we're not tough. We're just professional. I said, you better put that thing away, boy, before I pee all over you. And you scared the heck out of me. And I mean, here's a young man, I killed 3 men, probably 100 in combat, defending my country and me. And here this young man wants to hurt me because I'm teaching him the right from wrong. Well, he made a mistake. He left his eyesight for me. And when he did, I popped him one right side of the face. And I hit him in the throat. And I stepped on his toe. And I banged him against the wall and he dropped his knife. Hit his nose against the wall, started bleeding. Gave him a paper towel. Got my handkerchief out, pick up the knife, closed it. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm keeping the knife." "We got your fingerprints." I said, "You're going to graduate this school whether you like it or not." So I put it in my pocket. And I'm a member of counterintelligence in the FBI because I work with intelligence. So I showed him my badge. He said, "Oh my God, you're an FBI? I thought you was a Green Beret." I said, "We're everything, man. We train for everything." So Chico, that was his name, he graduated last year. Well, you see, if you have a bad attitude, this is what I'm trying to bring up. You gotta change that attitude. Determination, faith, and attitude. A positive attitude will carry you further than ability. Now, I know there's going to be questions to ask. I know I didn't mean to bore you with my war story, but I've dedicated myself to come and talk to you and other veterans to let you know what really went on in Vietnam. 10 years of before that. We have a wall with all the names of all those men and women that died for you and I. In conclusion, I'm going to tell you this poem that I promised this lady. And this poem is about me and you, and it's about that flag. And I hope you don't see yourself in this poem. The poem goes like this. Hello, remember me? Some people call me Uncle Green. Others call me the Star-Spangled Banner. But whatever you call me, I'm your flag. The flag of the United States of America. Something has been bothering me. It's about me and you. I thought I'd tell you about this. Not too long ago, people were lined up on both sides of the street to see a parade go by. And naturally, I was leading that parade, proudly waving in the breeze. When your daddy saw me coming, he would immediately remove his hat, place it over his left shoulder, so his right hand would be over his heart. And you and your little sister were standing right next to your dad. Both of you had your right hand over your heart. What has happened now? I don't feel as proud as I used to. When I come down that street, you just stand there with your hands in your pocket. You don't seem to know or care who I am, what I stand for, and where I've been. I see little kids running around playing. I saw an elderly gentleman who took his hat off. But when he saw others with theirs on, he turned around and slowly walked away. Hey, I'm still the same flag. A few stars have been added from those parades of long ago. A lot of blood has been shed. Is it a sin to be patriotic anymore? Have you forgotten who I am, what I stand for, and where I've been? Anvil, Guadalcanal, Korea, Grenada, Vietnam, Panama, the Middle East. Take a good look one day at the memorial honor of all the names that never came back. They gave their life for this great nation, you and I, to be free under God. When you salute me, you salute each and every one of them. Well, it won't be long now, and I'll be coming down that street, leading that parade, and proudly waving in the breeze. So when you see me coming, stand up straight and salute, and I'll salute you by waving back, and then I know that you remember. I say that point for all those that gave their tomorrows for our todays. Now there's a saying among us veterans, for those that had fought for it, life has a special flavor. The protected will never know. You have never lived till you almost died. And it is us veterans, and especially the wounded, that pray for peace most of all, because we have to suffer the wounds of the war. And I know that there's two questions that you want to ask me, and I'm going to answer them right now. One of them is, are they going to make a movie about your story? This book that's being sold here is being rewritten, and there will be a movie coming out next year, a TV documentary. It's going to be called Tango Mike Mike. That's the phonetic alphabet for TMM. That was a call sign in Vietnam, and it stands for the Mean Mexican. That's the title of the book also. And the other question that you might ask me is, would you do it over again? In the 25 years that I served my country, I feel like I've been overpaid. Would I do it over again? There'll never be enough paper to print the money, nor enough gold in Fort Knox for me to have to keep me from doing what I did. I live by the motto of duty, honor, country. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Before I dismiss you, anyone who hasn't got private t-shirts yet, they can go in the office and order them with Debbie, Mr. Larson's secretary, and a new shipment or whatever will be coming in next week. So if anyone needs any. And now